So I just got back from California, and tomorrow's the 4th of July. So in tomorrow's Lightroom tutorial, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit down and show you how to use the graduated filter on just a regular picture where the exposure is a little different in two different parts of the image. And then I'm going to show you how I would edit a fireworks picture, which I think is perfect for the 4th of July, and how I use the graduated filter in that. So let's jump into the computer here. So here we are on the computer in a Lightroom, and we're in the Develop module, and I'm going to show you how to use the graduated filter. The keyboard shortcut is M if you want to open it up. So when you open it up, here are the tools. Now you can apply any of these tools in this local adjustment. So I'm going to come over here, and if you look at this image, you can see that the top is brighter than the bottom. I'm actually going to close the tool, and I'm going to raise the exposure in this image to get the top part of the image the way I want it. So I would say right there. Now I'm going to reopen the graduated filter, and from the bottom I'm going to pull up. Now as I pull up, you can see I can, by moving the cursor left and right, I can affect the way it's going to be applied. But if I want it to just be straight, I can hold down the shift key and it'll straighten out, and I can pull it straight up. So with the shift key pressed, you can up and down. It becomes very simple. Now if I press the O button on my keyboard, it's going to show me where any adjustment I have put is going to be applied, and this is exactly where I want it. I want it mostly in the bottom of the image and gradually disappearing as it gets closer to the top of the image. So let's click that off, and now I'm going to add exposure over here in this panel. And as you can see, it's brightening up the image on the lower portion without affecting the top. I'm going to add a little clarity down here, and you can do whatever you want. I'm going to open up the shadows a little bit, and now we have a very well balanced image top to bottom because I was able to do it in this manner without affecting the whole image. And what's great about this is how it's almost undetectable, the fade off, and that's what's great about this. So I'm going to click done because I like that. Now that adjustment's there. I can continue working with other tools and working on this image. Let's say I wanted to open the shadows a little bit on the whole image. Now I'm back to affecting everything globally. I'm not working just in the bottom. Now I'm working on the whole image. I want to warm the image up. Now let's say I say, oh, you know what? The top is a little bit too bright now. I can open the same tool again. And now my original adjustment is here. It's on the bottom. And when I click on it, all the adjustments I made are over here. When I click done, it goes away. If I open it up again, now I have a new one. It's a completely blank slate, and I'm going to work from the top down this time. So let's say from the top down, I wanted to make it a little bit darker. So that's something I can do. And again, I could add clarity. Any of these tools I can apply there. Now, Lightroom gives you, where it says custom here, it gives you some presets. I don't like the way they turn out, so I usually don't use them, but you can try applying them to your image. I usually work with the custom setting, and this way you can apply everything the way you want. Now, down here in the panel, you're going to notice a color box. So when I open that, I can click on a color, and it's going to apply that color in a graduated fashion to the image. You know, this is just a creative aspect of this tool that you can use. You can change the color tint. You can make it anything you want. So sometimes in the sky, maybe you want to add, you know, most skies are blue, but maybe you want to just tweak it a little bit, make it a little not quite normal. You know, maybe just something a little different than what we're used to seeing. And you can do that. You see how the slight changes here? It's got a little bit of a purple tint to it. And now let's say on the bottom, I wanted to do the same thing. I could open this again, and I could add that same purple tint to the bottom. So in the reflection, it matches. So this is a creative part of this tool that you can use, and you know, it's just another way to customize your image. Now, if you just saw down here in the bottom of this, there's a well, let's highlight one of the adjustments. Let's highlight the top adjustment. Now where it says range mask, I have color and luminance. So with this range mask off, it's going to affect the image uniformly top to bottom. If I click color, now I have an eyedropper tool that I could click, let's say here in the green of the lawn, and it's only going to affect this color. So the graduated filter is only going to affect the green color that I've chosen, or if I chose this color right here in the sky, it'll only affect that. It won't affect the white parts of the sky or the castle. So if I don't want this purple to overlay on the castle, I can select a certain color that is different than the castle, and it'll only affect that. This is something new that they just introduced into Lightroom CC Classic, and gives you a lot of leeway. So if I clicked into this part of the image here, it'll only affect the orange of the building. So all of the colors inside this mask that match this color will be affected by the gradient, and that's it. So this is a great way to really take control of your image, but it's more of an advanced technique, but it's in there. Once you want to start messing around with it, you feel comfortable with these tools, this is a great tool to use. And as you can see, you can also affect the amount that it's applied, and you can see as I adjust it, it changes. So that's basically how the gradient tool works. Here's a fireworks image that I was working on, and I'm going to zero it out for you, reset the whole thing. So in this image, I'm going to use the gradient tool, the graduated filter also. Right now I'm making the whole image brighter. I'm going to open up the shadows in this. I want everything to be balanced. But the bottom half of this image to me is still a little too dark. So I'm going to take the graduated filter and I'm going to do it in a diagonal fashion here, because I don't want it to affect the whole image. I want it to affect here. I'm going to zero these out just on the right side, and then I'm going to click new and drag up from this side. Same thing. I'm going to add a little bit of brightness, a little too much, a little bit of brightness down here, and that's how I would use it in a fireworks image. Now with 3 adjustments, this image went from this to this. That's a big change with just a couple of seconds worth of adjustments here. Now if I was going to finish this image off, I'd use my adjustment brush, which has all of the same tools as the graduated filter and the radial filter. So I would take a little clarity here and I would paint it onto everything, and watch how this image just comes alive right over the castle and the fireworks. Maybe I would lower the highlights a little bit, because I can see in my histogram I'm a little overblown in a couple of spots. Right there. So there you go. Look at the difference. Once you learn the tools in this program, you can really make some drastic changes to your images quickly. And the graduated filter is a great way to quickly make adjustments to just a portion of your image. And there's one other thing in here that I forgot to tell you, and I'm going to tell you right now. So if I open this up, and you can see where the adjustment is. If I wanted to, for whatever reason, I have a brush tool in here also, and this brush tool, once I click on brush, I now have my brush settings where I can make it bigger and smaller. I can change the feather. So in here I'm going to make the feather large, and I'm going to click erase. So this graduated filter, which is coming up from the bottom corner here, is affecting the sky and the castle a little bit, and maybe I don't want it to. So I can paint that off, and I could take it away. I can remove that adjustment in this filter anywhere that I want to remove it from. So now when you look at the overlay, the only thing that's affected are these parts on the building. And I can highlight, let's close this, I'll reopen it, and I'm going to open up this pin and do the same thing. Now this one I have a lot lower here, so I'm actually going to move this one so it comes up into the sky and turn it a little bit. If you grab the middle line, you can turn it. Same thing. I'm going to grab the brush, come down to the bottom, hit erase, and I'm going to remove this adjustment from here. And that's it. So now, when I look at the image, the brightness only affects the buildings. It's not in the sky up here. And I'm fairly happy with this. So that's how I would leave this image. It's a quick fireworks edit, and the graduated filter was a big part of it. So that's it for this tutorial on the graduated filter in Lightroom. If you have any questions, you can ask them in the comments, and we'll see you in the next one.